Hi, and welcome back to Send Happy with Allie, a place to have fun, create cards, and send them. Hopefully you had a chance to just send even one card out to someone in your world to let them know that you were thinking of them. I created a few birthday cards. The mermaid card that I showed in my last video, I gave that to a fabulous 6-year-old. I also made a fun Spider-Man card for an amazing 5-year-old that I'll show in an upcoming technique video, and I gave that to him. And I sent an oldie but a goodie to my sister-in-law. I do have a few more birthday cards to create and send by the end of the month, which is quickly approaching. But I'm very excited that I've sent just a couple of cards out this month to let people know that I'm thinking about them. I sent that happy into the world. Speaking of the end of the month, this is the last weekend for SALE-a-bration. So if you've been eyeing these stamp sets, now's the time. Because on Tuesday, February 28th, they will be gone. So I've showed this sending support, which I love. I actually need to make something with these. The adorable owls, beautifully happy. I just received this, and then thanks a bunch, which I'm going to use today. If you've been eyeing any of these, please, this is the weekend. You need to spend $50 or $100 to get these products for free. Or if you've been eyeing up perhaps the designer series paper, and this you have to spend $100 to receive, but oh my gosh, you get so much paper. I was shocked at how much paper came, and it's front and back. So you have a lot, you can do a lot of projects with this amazing paper. And this was the Dandy Designs, which we're going to use today, I'm going to use today as well. So let's get started on the card that we're making. This is it. So again, I used the Thanks a Bunch stamp set from the SALE-a-bration collection. We're going to be doing some embossing today, which I'm really excited about. So let's get started. I'm going to start by stamping the image of the carrot onto basic white and setting it aside. I want that image to completely dry before I try and emboss on top of it. So this is just a scrap piece of basic white. It's cut at 5.5 by 4 1/4. This is the carrot image from Thanks a Bunch, and I'm using pumpkin pie ink. And I stamped 3 carrots, but you can stamp 5 or 2, 1. Well, 1 won't really work with Thanks a Bunch, but okay. Now I'm using garden green for the leaves. The background leaves, I actually stamped off some of the color, and then the ones in the forefront are full color. So first I'm going to stamp off. She dances, keep drinking, oh my mind is... Now I'm doing full strength. So why would you care to get out of this place? Me and all our friends, such a happy human race. Drink and be merry. Looks good. I like it. Okay, now we're going to set that aside, let that dry completely. And while we let that dry, I'm going to show you how to cut the DSP. So the DSP, hopefully that ink isn't getting on the bottom of my cutter. The DSP is 12 by 12. That's the dimensions of the DSP, designer series paper. Again, this is Dandy Designs SALE-a-bration from the SALE-a-bration products. So I'm cutting it completely in half, so 6 inches. I'm cutting it in half. And then to get the most out of a 12 by 12 DSP paper, I'm going to cut it 4 inches to get 3 pieces of DSP. And it'll be 4 by 6. But that's going to be too long for my card. So I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4. And that will fit on my base like so. And then what I did with this little extra piece of DSP, I actually put that inside the card just to add a little bit of something into the side, inside the card. So you can do that so you're not wasting DSP. Okay, let me get this out of the way. I'm going to get out my embossing tools. So this is the Embossing Editions toolkit. It comes with the Embossing Buddy, the Powder Pal, the crafting tweezers, and the crafting brush. And I was so excited to see this in the fall winter mini catalog that we just had because of this. This Powder Pal, I've seen a couple of demonstrators. I've been stamping for 20 years and I saw that some demonstrators had this and I loved it because it collects the embossing powder that you don't use and you can easily put it back into the container using this. You just open the spout and it goes right back in. I was so jealous. And when I saw it in the mini catalog, I was like, oh, I gotta have that. So I immediately purchased it. And guess what? It's still available. All of this is available together. So we're going to use this in a minute. Another thing that we're going to use is the heating tool and then embossing powder. So I used clear for what we're going to do today. And these 3, clear, black, and white, they all come in a 3-pack of the basic Stampin' Emboss powders. So we're going to be using the clear one today. Okay, so I'm going to bring back my image, carrots, and I'm going to take, actually before I get to this, I'm going to take this off, carrot, and I'm going to put, this comes in the stamp set, and it just gives the carrot a little bit of definition. And I thought embossing it would be fun to give it even more definition and more texture. So that's what we're going to be using. What I'm going to be inking this with is Calypso Coral. And first we're going to start with the Embossing Buddy. And I'm just kind of tapping this around and rubbing off any kind of anything that's on the surface so that our embossing powder will stick. Okay, the other thing that, so the embossing powder will stick just to the image that I'm going to put on here. So we need to do this quickly. So I'm going to ink this up because the ink needs to stay. If the ink dries, then the embossing powder won't stay on it. So I'm going to get that ready. I'm going to get this stuff out of here so we can go right into here. Okay, ready? Let's do this. And you know, we're leaving perfection at the door. That one could have been a little bit better, but it's okay. I'm going to put this in here. Now, covering everything the image that we just did in Calypso Coral. So then you put the container in here. Love it. Do this. Okay, use this to kind of take off any more banging off the embossing powder. I don't know why I like to blow on it. Now, if there's any other excess embossing powder around here, you can use the crafting brush. I don't think I see any. Okay. And I'm going to get out my embossing tool. I'm using the crafting tweezers to hold this while I heat it. And you'll see that once the heating tool heats up the embossing powder, it almost looks wet. Just gives it a little bit of texture. And using the clear embossing powder allows you to emboss in any color. Whereas black and white, obviously, it's going to emboss in black and white. And then there's metallics too that you can buy that are copper, gold, and silver. So I just love how it just gives it a little bit of texture. So cool. Okay, so another thing that we're going to emboss is the Thanks a Bunch. I embossed that, the Thanks a Bunch saying. So we're going to do that next. Okay, I just have a scrap piece of basic white, and I put Thanks a Bunch. That's on stamp, put that on a block. And then again, I'm doing the Calypso Coral. Ink, ink, ink. Again, you gotta do it quickly. So let me get ready. Oh. Use the brush if you think there's any excess. I don't see any, but just in case. Okay. Sometimes it feels like it's not doing anything, and then all of a sudden the embossing powder really starts to melt. And you're like, there it is. There's the magic. I remember when I first learned to do this, I embossed everything. I was like, ooh, look at this. I'm going to emboss that image. I'm going to emboss this image. So there we go. Looks good. I like it. All right, now to cut everything out. And I'm using the stitched rectangles. You can find this in the annual catalog. Okay, there's that. And then again, using another rectangle from the stitched rectangles, I'm going to cut out the carrots. Now I was okay that I cut my carrots off, but if you don't like that, you can get the next, there's another die from the set that's a little bit bigger that'll capture it all, but I kind of liked that I cut them off. And now it's time to assemble the card. So what I did, I already did this. I used, again, another one of the stitched rectangles. And this is Calypso Coral. And that's going to be the base of our greeting. Then this is the base card. This is I took an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. This is also Calypso Coral. And I cut it 5.5 and I scored it at 4.25. And then for the greeting, I used my favorites. Stampin' Dimensionals. If you haven't used Stampin' Dimensionals, you need to get them. And there you go. I love the texture. It's so fun. Okay. Make this card. Go tell someone thank you. Send some gratitude. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe. I'll see you next time. Now go send some gratitude.